Okay, and we're all set for the council meeting.
Thank you. Council President Stacey Kelly, we're going to begin our council meeting of May 26th at 7:34 p.m. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the which it stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Biassiata.
Here.
Director of Law Pignatello.
Here.
Director of Finance Petruniak.
Here.
Councilman at Large Elliott.
Here.
Councilwoman at Large Kelly.
Here.
Councilman at Large Koyu.
Here.
Ward 1 Councilman Kuriazis.
Here.
Ward 2 Councilman Martin.
Here.
Ward 3 Councilman Snitsky.
Here.
Ward 4 Councilman Delaquila.
Here.
Director of Public Service and Properties Johnson.
Here.
Engineer Collins.
Here.
Thank you. We now have the reading and disposal of the journal.
Madam President,
Councilman Snitsky.
having read the council minutes for the meeting of May 12th, 2020, I find no errors or omissions. Therefore, I move that they be approved as printed. Second the motion, Delaquila.
Roll call.
Delaquila.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Kuriazis.
Yes.
Koyu.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Snitsky. Mr. Snitsky, are you there?
Where's the Snitsky?
Councilman Snitsky.
Tom, are you muted?
He responded to roll call.
We have to wait till he rejoins.
Forgot to pay his phone bill.
This is Snitsky. I'm sorry, my line went dead. I had to call in on another phone.
Okay. Are you voting yes, Mr. Snitsky, for approving the journal?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is Councilwoman Kelly. Moving on to the consent agenda. There are no submissions for May 26th of 2020. Are there any resolutions of commendation?
There are none.
Thank you. Moving on to reports of committees, planning, zoning, and economic development.
Yes, Madam President. Planning, zoning, and economic development met this evening. Our next meeting will be June 23rd.
Thank you, Councilman Snitsky. Public Works.
Yes, Madam President. Our last meeting was of Public Works was on May 12th. And the next one will be on June 9th.
Thank you, Councilman Koyu. Community Services.
Madam President,
Councilman Kuriazis.
Last community service meeting was May 12th. Minutes are on file with the Clerk of Council, and the next meeting is June 9th.
Thank you. Police and Safety.
Thank you, Madam President. Minutes from last meeting are on file with the clerk. The next meeting is going to be on June 9th.
Thank you, Councilman Elliott. Recreation.
Madam President, Parks and Rec met this evening. Minutes are pending. And the next meeting is I can't tell you. Right now, I'm not looking at the calendar.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Rules, ordinances, and ethics. Councilman Delacola? Hello?
He didn't pay his bill either.
That's the only one that has a phone go dead in the middle of a meeting.
He's out looking for the Snitsky.
We have to wait for
I'm back.
we're on rules, ordinances, and ethics for reports of
Okay.
committees.
Thank you. Rules Committee met this evening. The minutes will be submitted to the council clerk. Our next meeting is, I believe, June 16th.
Thank you, Councilman. This is Councilman Kelly for Finance, Civil Service, and Personnel. Our last meeting was May 12th. The minutes are on file with the clerk, and our next meeting is June 9th. Mayor, do we have any appointments or confirmations this evening?
None.
Thank you. Council Clerk, any communications, petitions, and claims?
Yes, I have an email that was received from Tom Jaros and requested to be read into the record. It's dated May 25th, addressed to President of Council Stacy Kelly in reference to sunshine law violation. Hello. After trying to listen to the audio of 5/5/20 council meeting, it is obvious that sunshine law is not being observed. For instance, the quality of the audio is so poor that opening remarks cannot be heard. Also, all speaking should begin their remarks by announcing their names. Maybe this is the reason that Pignatello didn't know an open meeting had been initiated. At any rate, the work product / legislation coming out of meetings not conducted in accordance with sunshine law is invalidated by the failed adherence. Council needs to take necessary action to come into compliance immediately. Actions taken at the May 5th, 20 meeting need to be reviewed by council for their effectiveness under the circumstances. Without audio confirming that the meeting was opened and necessary motions made to go into executive session, it appears that said executive session was entered into illegally. I will look forward to council's answers to the issues I've raised in this email. Thank you, Tom Jaros. And that's all for this evening.
Thank you, Council Clerk. I will speak to that briefly. First and foremost, this council and the administration has worked very hard to work in compliance with the newly stated sunshine laws as far as our open meetings. We have done our very best to comply, and to my knowledge, no rules have been broken and or violated. As far as the sunshine laws, as far as the executive session, all minutes are accounted for. I have those minutes. They will be made available upon request. And like I said, we've done our very best. Sometimes it has been challenging. This is a new process for not only us, but many, many cities. And I think we've done a pretty good job. I think we've done a damn good job, really. So my hat's off to, Jen and our technical folks for getting us online and getting our message out there to the people. So thank you for reading that, and I appreciate it. Any other comments on that? All right, then move forward onto our ordinances and resolutions. We're going to have the first reading of ordinance number 19-2020.
Madam President, it is the third reading. I'd like to amend ordinance number 19-2020. There's a couple typos on there. Under 1143.08,
in part 5, it says recreation and it should say residential district. And further down in part 6, it should say when a permanent dwelling has been rendered uninhabitable. Okay, there's a typo there. I would like to make a motion to amend the ordinance to make those corrections. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Ariazis,
Yes.
Fuyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Madam President, Martin,
Councilman Martin.
I have an additional amendment to present. I have a amendment I'd like to see considered for under 1143.08, section B, new item 7, and that outside storage shall not exceed 6 months per calendar year for items that are outlined in 1143.08, section A, subsection 5, subsection 6. Essentially, snowmobiles and boats shouldn't be left throughout the entire year for storage. Again, that's 114308, section B, new number 7, outside storage shall not exceed 6 months per calendar year for items that are contained in 1143.08, subsection A, subparagraph 5 and 6.
Are there any objections to that addition? Anyone from council? Norm, repeat
Madam
the... Patrick,
This is Councilman Elliott. Can you please repeat that? What are the changes in this?
Adding under section B, under 114308, section B, add a new number 7 after the existing 6. It says outside storage shall not exceed 6 months per calendar year for items that are addressed in 1143.08, section A, items 5 and 6. 5 and 6 relates to boats and boat trailers, and section 6 with snowmobiles and ATVs, etc. The rationale
Madam President?
the rationale is to prevent year-round storage of those types of vehicles that are seasonal.
Madam President,
Councilman Elliott?
I'm opposed to that. I think if someone wants to store their boat on the side of their house or wherever, as long as it's on the side or in the back, then they have a right to do that. Or an old vehicle. I mean, a lot of people don't have storage and can't afford storage somewhere else. To store a vehicle, as long as it's covered, I don't see the problem there.
Madam President, this is Councilman Snitsky. Can I jump in here a minute?
Councilman Snitsky, you have the floor.
Norm, I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with it, but I'd kind of like to see it in print. Could we pass this ordinance tonight and then bring it back up with the amendment on it so that we can look at it again at our next meeting? I'd like to pass it as is right now. We've been debating it for a while, and then look at your additional amendment and a fresh copy, at the next meeting? Would you be willing to do that, sir?
I don't know. Tom, this is Norm Martin. Chairwoman, do I have the floor?
Go ahead, Norm.
Thank you. Hey, I appreciate that, Tom. However, I mean, I had essentially almost the same opportunity to look at all the corrections that came to me this afternoon related to the resolution as well. And so it's not a short issue. It's whether or not you want to change the aesthetics of the community by allowing a large number of ATVs, boats, motorcycles, and everything else on trailers year-round. If you can afford the boats, if you can afford the pair of ATVs, you can afford the storage. And I think what you've done is pass along the cost of the storage that's not being paid by the individuals who own the recreational vehicles onto the rest of the neighborhood, which will change the aesthetics of that neighborhood.
And again, Norm, this is Tom Snitsky again. Again, Norm, I'm not disagreeing with you, but this is a fairly dramatic change, and people have been doing this for a while, as long as they had it behind the front building line, in the back of the residence, on a pad. It was generally acceptable. Okay, so it's kind of a big change. So I think we ought to at least look at it in writing before we just throw it into something that's already been kind of debated up to this point. I'm not disagreeing with it. It's always been kind of a gray area. But at the same time, I'm just not necessarily comfortable just making the amendment right out of the blue here tonight.
Madam President, I'm calling point of order.
Point of order has been called. For what reason, please?
Well, this ordinance is on right now. I'm gonna make a motion that we table it since there's so much confusion in it. I want to make a motion to table ordinance 19-2020 until we can get a look at Councilman Martin's proposals. Can I get a second, please?
Martin, second.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Delaquila,
Yes, table.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
No.
Okay, ordinance number 19-2020 has been tabled. Moving on to ordinance 32-2020.
Madam President,
Councilman.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read ordinance number 32-2020 by title only for its third and final reading.
I second that motion.
Roll call.
Delaquila,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Ordinance number 32, 2020, introduced by Mayor Biassiata and councilpersons Kelly, Elliott, Koyu, Curriasis, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquila. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the City of Seven Hills and the County of Cuyahoga for the use of Cuyahoga County's mass notification system, Ready Notify.
Is there a further motion?
Madam President,
Councilman Elliott.
I move that we pass ordinance 32-2020.
I second that motion.
Roll call.
Delaquila,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Ordinance 32-2020 has passed. Moving on to resolution number 10-2020.
Madam President,
Councilman Curriasis.
I move to, that we suspend the rules of council and read resolution 10-2020 by title only for its first and final reading.
And second, roll call.
Delaquilla.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Curriasis.
Yes.
Koyu.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Resolution number 10, 2020, introduced by Mayor Biassiata and councilpersons Kelly, Elliott, Koyu, Curriasis, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquilla. A resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to create a fund entitled Local Coronavirus Relief Fund. The City of Seven Hills affirms that monies in this fund shall be used to cover costs consistent with the requirements of Section 5001 of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act and declaring an emergency.
Is there a further motion?
Madam President,
Councilman Curriasis.
I move to approve the emergency clause in Section 5 of the resolution.
A second, roll call.
Delaquilla.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Curriasis.
Yes.
Koyu.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Is there a further motion?
Madam President,
Councilman Curriasis.
I move that we adopt resolution number 10-2020 as an emergency measure.
A second, roll call.
Delaquilla.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Curriasis.
Yes.
Koyu.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Resolution number 10-2020 has been adopted. Moving on to ordinance number 34-2020.
Madam President. Councilman
Councilman
Martin.
Martin.
Yeah, I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and amend ordinance 34-2020 by adding an emergency.
I second that.
Roll call.
This is the clerk. There is already an emergency clause on that ordinance, number 34.
Okay. Number 34.
We're on 34.
I apologize.
Norm, you want to reread that?
I'm looking here. Yeah, I see section 5. Thank you. Okay, so let me try again. It's Councilman Martin. I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read amendment ordinance 34-2020 by title only for its final reading.
Second.
And if I get that wrong, I pass.
Second that.
Delaquilla.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Kelly. Yes. Curriasis.
Yes.
Koyu.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Ordinance number 34, 2020, introduced by Mayor Biassiata and councilpersons Kelly, Elliott, Koyu, Curriasis, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquilla. and ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to participate in the distribution of federal coronavirus relief funding to local subdivisions through the County of Cuyahoga for Coronavirus Relief Distribution Fund, authorizing such amount received to be deposited in the city's local Coronavirus Relief Fund, and monies expended from such fund be used to cover only costs incurred by the city consistent with the requirements of Section 5001 of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, as described in 42 U.S.C. 601D, and declaring an emergency.
Is there a further motion?
Council President, point of order. What is my next move? To refer to Section 5 for the emergency clause?
Councilman Martin, repeat that, please.
I'm at a loss what to do next. It appears I don't have the right procedures in my hand. And I think the Ward 1 councilman did it correctly before me on the previous resolution. And I think he referred to the emergency provision in Section 5 of his ordinance, which I also have a Section 5 of the emergency ordinance.
Section 5 of the emergency ordinance. I'm not sure what you're
Section 5 of
referring to.
The emergency measure in Section 5.
That's correct, Mr. Martin. That's the second motion in the battery of threes to approve the emergency provision.
Okay, so moved. For ordinance 34-2020 to approve the emergency language in Section 5 of the ordinance.
I second the motion.
Roll call?
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Kuyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Madam President?
Councilman?
Yeah, Councilman Martin, I think I get the third one. The third one is, I move that we adopt ordinance number 34-2020.
Point of order.
Thank you.
You would be passing the ordinance.
Passing, okay.
You would make a motion to pass ordinance 34-2020 as an emergency measure.
Correct. That is the motion. Thank you.
Is there a
I
second?
second that. I second that.
Thank you. Roll call?
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Kuyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Ordinance number 34-2020 passed. Moving on to ordinance number 35-2020.
Madam President,
Councilman Snitsky.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and amend ordinance 35-2020 by adding an emergency clause.
I second.
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Kuyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes. Madam President,
Councilman Snitsky.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read amended ordinance 35-2020 for its first and final reading.
Second. Roll call?
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 35, 2020, introduced by Mayor Biassiata. Councilpersons Kelly, Elliott, Koyu, Kansas, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquilla. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a First Amendment to the agreement for sanitary and storm sewer maintenance within the city of Seven Hills, Ohio, on behalf of the city of Seven Hills, Ohio, with the county of Cuyahoga on behalf of the Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works for the purpose of expanding the scope of the agreement to have the county maintain the city plants and declaring an emergency.
Is there a further motion?
Madam President,
Councilman Snitsky.
I'd like to state for the record that the reason emergency clause is that on the advice of the city engineer, we want to get the county involved in maintaining the pump station on Mary Lane as quickly as possible. And that's the reason for the emergency. I move that we pass amended ordinance 35-2020.
Second. Roll call.
Point of order, I believe we need to approve an emergency clause that's been added to this ordinance.
That is correct. Councilman Snitsky, if you would read the second version of your emergency ordinances.
Carol, didn't we do that in the first motion with this one?
So we added
No.
an emergency by an amendment.
All right, I can take care of it. Madam President, I move that we approve the emergency clause found in the last section of ordinance number 35-2020.
Second. Roll call.
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Is there a further motion?
Madam President, I move that we pass amended ordinance number 35-2020.
Second.
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 35-2020 has passed. Moving on to ordinance number 36-2020 for its first reading.
I believe you decided to add the emergency clause in committee on this one. This is the Safe Built ordinance.
Safe vote. Yes, it is. Okay. Councilman Elliott, do you want to do the first reading? And Rick, second?
Negative. I'm not able to.
Councilman Koyu, can you do the first reading on ordinance 36 with the amendment?
I believe I move that we suspend the rules under the charge and read amended ordinance 36-2020 for final reading.
No, point of order. You have to make a motion to amend ordinance number 36-2020 to add the emergency clause.
Okay. I make a motion to remove the, say that again, move the ordinance, the amended ordinance of 36-2020.
I'll do it. I'm going to make a motion to amend ordinance number 36-2020 to add the emergency clause.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call.
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to make a motion to suspend the rules of council and read amended ordinance number 36-2020 by title only for its first and final reading.
Second.
Roll call?
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 36, 2020, introduced by Mayor Biassiata and councilpersons Kelly, Elliott, Koyu, Curriasis, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquilla. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement on behalf of the city of Seven Hills, Ohio with Safe Built Ohio LLC for the purpose of providing services for as-needed inspections and plan reviews, along with the CBO role in the city's building department for a 12-month period, which shall automatically renew for an additional 12-month period unless prior notification to terminate is given, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. I'm going to make a further motion to approve the emergency clause found in the last paragraph of amended ordinance number 36-2020.
Second.
Roll call?
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
I'm going to make a further motion to pass amended ordinance number 36-2020 as an emergency measure.
Second.
Delaquilla,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Curriasis,
Yes.
Koyu,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Snitsky.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 2020 has passed. Moving on to ordinance number 37-2020 for its first reading.
Ordinance number 37, 2020, introduced by Mayor Biassiata and councilpersons Kelly, Elliott, Koyu, Curriasis, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquilla. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an agreement on behalf of the city of Seven Hills, Ohio, with American Fireworks Company of Hudson, Ohio, for the purpose of selling, furnishing, delivering, and presenting 2 fireworks displays for the city of Seven Hills 2020 home days, and appropriating a sum not to exceed $8,500 for said service.
Thank you. We'll now have the first reading of ordinance number 38-2020.
Ordinance number 38, 2020, introduced by Mayor Biassiata and councilpersons Kelly, Elliott, Koyu, Curriasis, Martin, Snitsky, and Delaquilla. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an agreement on behalf of the city of Seven Hills, Ohio, with Courtview Justice Solutions, doing business as Equivant of Canton, Ohio, for the purpose of performing annual maintenance and support of the Mayor's Court Legacy Case Management System software, and the right to use license, and appropriating the sum not to exceed $2,660 for said service.
Thank you, Carol. Reports and communications from the mayor/safety director.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Few updates today. This being our first, if we can mute the phone, I'm getting feedback. Anyone's on speakerphone, thank you. We're still getting it, oh well. This is our first meeting since Memorial Day. I'd like to just take one moment here of silence for all that have fallen in the events of our country. Thank you. I'd like to start out and thank those that participated in our virtual ceremony. I was really taken aback at how well it went. We had a little Wi-Fi disruption, but it didn't rattle anyone. Thank you to Georgia Kostak. Your singing is and remains beautiful, inspirational. Father Suso from St. Columcille, your benediction and words were also inspiring. Many of my staff pitched in. The first responders were there to block traffic. Thank you, all of you, from the bottom of my heart. It was a very touching, moving ceremony, and you all collectively made Seven Hills proud with this event. I hope, God willing, that either later in the year or next year, that we can get back to our traditions of the parade and our regular memorial ceremony. Thank you from my bottom of my heart for putting together such a wonderful event. Thank you again. I'm going to ask the community to send out prayers for someone that many of us know. 26-year Councilman Bob Leach. He's in intensive care battling a very, very, very serious illness. I normally keep these matters kind of private, as I think all of you would like, but with his family's permission of doing this today because the situation warrants it. So those that believe in prayer and those that know Bob know he does, please spend some time this evening and say a prayer for Councilman Bob Leach, retired. Thank you on that subject. We're adding in the month 6 of my first tenure here, first year, first term as mayor. To my many supporters out there, keep the faith. It was very humbling to win an election by 86%. Like I said on election night, I will not let you down. The future remains bright. In spite of the many obstacles that have been laid before us, some intentional, some have been God's will, progress is happening on all fronts. You know, a number of people have reached out, a number of residents said, hey, what a terrible way to start first year of your mayor. We have COVID concerns and an economic disruption. And that's true. That's a tough hand to be dealt. But fret not. Adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. And in these challenging times, I wouldn't want anyone other than myself sitting in this seat to guide through these uncharted waters. Previous meetings, I've updated council on the financial status of the city, the loss in income tax brought on by this period. Shared with them substantial budget cuts that we were able to maneuver without layoffs, without disruption of city services that have inflicted many other cities. April financials closed last week and posted on the city's website in complete transparency, and of course council and council's mailing lists were all copied on that. An inspection of those finances revealed that the situation is not downgraded since we spoke last, that our cash reserves remain where they were in March. Speaking of the adversity, and a change of an administration, change in some personnel, and the adverse activities that surround us. Like I said, some, God willing, some Mother Nature, and some man-made to try to take our eye off the ball, to try to keep the city from moving forward, to cast shadows where there aren't any. My staff has performed exceptional in these circumstances. Like I said, progress on every single front. And I thank my staff because I couldn't do it without you. Once again, to my supporters, it's been a wild ride. In 3 terms, I rose from a ward councilman to your mayor, and I thank you for that. I'd like to think there's a few things that converged to make that possible. One, I've always acted ethical. I've been direct and honest with our residents on tough situations. Never deflected blame to anyone else, never blamed the administration when I was a councilman. If there was a problem, I tried to put forth the solution. Said, let's work together. Whoever was in the seats next to me, whether I liked them or not, I found a way to work with these people to move the city forward. Our residents expect no less. When there was a problem in the past, come to council with an idea. Hey, I have a way to do it and better than the administration's doing now. Or maybe not in those words, but come with an idea to fix a problem. That style's continuing. When I see things that I think I can improve, I will. Changes that I think are best for the city, I'll make. And I'm always going to put the electorate's interest first. But you got to understand is not everything's perfect and not everything happens in the time frame that we'd all want it to happen. Some projects are larger than others and take a longer period of time. But you have to understand sometimes compromises have to be made. So you can't let perfect get in the way of good. You find a situation that remedies things for the majority of people, the majority of council people, and you got to move forward. It's impossible to make everyone happy 100% of the time. But know that I'm doing my best 110% of the time. In addition to being 100% ethical, honest, and direct, I've displayed, without a question, an unparalleled work ethic towards solving the city's problems in the 4+ years I've been involved in city government. Every phone call is returned, every email is returned, and some of the biggest problems the city's faced for decades, I've put forward solutions. Some of them are in taking footprint, some of them are longer term. But until the merchants of hate can start saying that same thing, then they should find another way of doing business. I want to talk about the vast number of supporters out there in the community. Thanks again. It's humbling. I know some of you that are close to me like to pick up on things they see on social media and call me or my family even with grave concern. The person who's been soundly rejected by the voters over and over casts fear amongst some of you, and you feel it necessary to bring it to my attention, and it causes you sleepless nights. To my supporters that worry about these merchants of hate, please fret not. Tony Biassiata's fine, and so is Tony Biassiata's family. I am not going to take my eye off the ball for 1 second. We're going to continue to work hard, moving the city forward in spite of these obstacles, and we are not going to be detracted. We are not going to take away time from the important measures that are in front of the city and the challenges of COVID, the challenges of the economic disruption, the need to have better infrastructure, better parks. These are the things that we've been improving on. We are going to continue to work on these, and we're not going to worry about the merchants of hate. And those that enable the merchants of hate, you will join them on the sidelines. There's one thing that I've seen in my 16 years in Seven Hills, is that nothing will stop the merchants of hate. People will advance their agendas at the detriment of the city. Lies are okay because slander is impossible to prove on public officials. This is something each and every one on the day has signed up for, myself at the top of the list, and it won't matter. The truth will prevail. The residents will see the truth. The cream rises, and the merchant of hate will always lose. So please, fret not for Tony Biasiato. Continue to keep the faith, and I'll continue to give 120%. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving on to reports from the directors of departments, the Director of Finance. Welcome to your first meeting.
Thank you, Madam President. This is Finance Director Rich Petruniak. Just want to thank everybody again for the opportunity to serve as the Finance Director. I'm really looking forward to working with everybody. So far this past week, everyone at City Hall that I've met has welcomed me with open arms. I really appreciate that. It's meant a lot. So I'm just gonna, look forward to work with everybody, and that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Petruniak. Director of Law?
Richard Pignatello, I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Law Director. Director of Public Service and Properties?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Director Johnson. I'd just like to welcome Director Petruniak, and I wish you well. That's all, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Director. City Engineer?
Thank you, Madam President. Engineer Collins here. Wanted to echo the Service Director. Just want to welcome Rich Petruniak, Finance Director of the city. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the team. Look forward to working with you. Just wanted to let council know that, we have gotten overwhelming amount of emails over the last 3 to 4 or 5 weeks with the flooding events that we've had, and I'm doing my best to reach out to each and every resident that has contacted me via email or phone call, whether it's a service department forward service request to my department or from the building department. I'm following up on each and every one of those, and just wanted to express express hopefully their patience that I can't get back to them exactly that day, but I try my best within that week to try to get back with them. And we're making progress. Made about 7 site visits today to visit residents and give them some ideas on what they can do to improve drainage on their property. And it's been well accepted. Other than that, my latest report is on file at the mayor's office, and that's all I have. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. We'll move on to miscellaneous comments from council, starting with Councilman Snitsky.
Oh, that's good. I get to take everybody's fire away. A couple different things here. I did stop by the Memorial Day, so I hate to call it a celebration, but it's for celebrating the quality of people that have battled for our country. But I did stop by and watched it from a distance, and it was very moving and very professionally done. I was very impressed. The mayor should get kudos for that. And talking about the mayor, Mr. Biasiato, you're doing one heck of a job. You keep doing what you're doing and don't worry about the naysayers. Rich Petruniak, welcome to the city. I hope I get to meet you at some point. I need to see a face. You're now the third Richard working in the city government, so it's more than a little confusing. Prayers go out to Bob Leach. I known Bob a long time. He's always loved this city. It's always been very deep in his heart. And as long as we're talking about prayers, my mother-in-law, who's 95 years old and in the assisted living facility, tested positive for COVID-19. So if anybody's in a praying mood, she could probably use some too. One question of business. Dan, do you have any idea approximately when the assessment letters are going to go out? I've gotten a few recent questions from individuals, and I wondered if you had an answer. Other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Collins, did you have answers?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, Councilman Snitsky, it's approaching, of course, the end of May, getting in the beginning of June. Our goal is probably by the end of June at the latest is to have those final assessments, the actual numbers. We're working on some last minute items with the contractor to wrap up our final cost for construction. And our administrative team is also then working on, of course, a lot of the other costs that are associated, from bond counsel, from the other various departments, law department, of course, engineering, and of course the contractor. So I'm hoping in my best by the end of June is when we'll actually have the final assessment number. And all the council will, of course, know that number as soon as it's available.
All right, thank you, Mr. Engineer. I just like I said, a couple people have asked, so I wanted to give them a rough idea. Nothing in stone, just a rough idea. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Everybody else, have a good evening and a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Councilman Snitsky. Miscellaneous comments from Councilman Martin?
Chairwoman, thank you, Councilman Martin. I, again, welcome our fiscal officer, Rich. We look forward to your hard work and all the challenges that lay ahead, and appreciate you coming on board like that. I guess a little motto I used to keep in my wallet all the time was, do not be afraid of that which you should be afraid of you. And I used to take that to heart, and it used to give me a lot of confidence. The trouble was, I took my wife up to see the memorial stones that are in front of City Hall on Memorial Day later in the day as we're traveling around, and we enjoyed the short time that we had there. However, we took the opportunity to drive back towards the rec center and around the corner, and we're immediately surrounded by geese. So my fears, they should be afraid of me, but my gosh, when you're surrounded by 100 geese and their little ducklings, it's a tremendous thing. So anyway, it's quite a sight for those who haven't seen all the geese spreading out there. It is a little joy to watch them run, but boy, they sure do seem to breed. And every my last one, we shouldn't be doing this from home. My last item I have is that, every time we've had a meeting, I said be smart to everybody regarding the COVID issues and et cetera, and we're getting further down the calendar. And all I can tell you is that I see a lot of people not being smart, and you got to believe in a little bit of science, and you got to believe in a little bit of mathematics. And I know that's not everyone's strong suit, but boy, you got to think about those who do have that as a strong suit. You got to stop the spread, and social distancing works. Please do that, and please be courteous to your neighbors and friends. Don't be a carrier by doing stupid things. And thank you for the time this evening. Everyone be safe.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Councilman Kyriazis?
Madam President?
Councilman.
Yeah, I want to welcome Richard Petuniak to the city. Welcome, Richard. And I want to thank the mayor and all the participants yesterday in the Memorial Day ceremonies. I watched it on the Facebook page. And I also want to thank all the veterans out there that fought, men and women, for the freedoms that we have in this country to this day. So I want to thank all the veterans. And I want to put the prayers out there for Bob Leach and for Tom Snitsky's mother-in-law. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Miscellaneous comments, Councilman Kuyu?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to congratulate the DOF, Rich Petuniak. Congratulations or condolences, I don't know which one it is. So good to have you on board. Hope things go well for you. I'd also like to let Bob Leach's family and Tom, your family, know as well that love, thoughts, and prayers will be sent out for you guys from my behalf. And thanks to all the vets and all law enforcement and police and everybody who, works so hard to protect, not only our country, but states and cities. So, thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Miscellaneous comments from Councilman Elliott?
Thank you, Madam President. This weekend was about the veterans, and I want to thank all the families in Seven Hills who have veterans or who are veterans who may have lost loved ones. Thank you for your service. And as always, thank you to our first responders, Seven Hills first responders, for the job that they do on a daily basis. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman. Miscellaneous comments, Councilman Delaquila? Councilman Delaquila? Did we lose Rick?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You got me? Welcome, Mr. Petuniak. I look forward to working with you and actually meeting you at some point. Bob Leach. Bob Leach is an institution in the city of Seven Hills. He has spent decades working for our community, working for our young people, working for our seniors, whether you agreed with him or not. And on many occasions, people had their own opinions, but you could never doubt his dedication to his community and to his country. To hear that he is going through such a difficult time at this point is truly heartbreaking. To know that he must be suffering terribly, someone that we've known for so long, who's given so much to our community. It's not enough to just say thoughts and prayers are going his way, which obviously they are. We feel for Bob. What Bob is going through, many of us understand at a visceral level. I can imagine what he and his family are suffering with, and I just want them to know that I, for one, keep them mindfully in my heart, and am constantly concerned for his well-being. I hope everything turns out well for him and his family. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. This is Council President Kelly with my miscellaneous comments. First, I'd like to welcome aboard our Finance Director, Rich Petuniak. Again, welcome, and I wish you nothing but luck, and I look forward to meeting with you and working with you in the future. I, too, also wish prayers and well wishes to Bob Leach and his family. I wish him a speedy recovery. This is a tough guy. He's a tough old bird, so I really wish him nothing but the best. You know, he's a great guy. He's very quick to offer help and support, and that's much appreciated, especially, to some of us, council folks that are new to the job, or, it's a constant learning process, and to have someone there who's always willing to offer support and help is really amazing. So nothing but good vibes for him and his family. Also, I wish nothing but the best for Councilman Snitsky's mother-in-law. Nothing but a speedy recovery. I'd also like to thank our veterans who have, for their service and for the freedoms they provide our country. Also, God bless to the fallen. I can't say enough good words.
Can't say enough good words.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our council meeting this evening, and that's at 8:38 p.m.
Councilman Elliott, second.
Thank you, Councilman. We're at 8:38 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Delaquila?
Yes.
Elliott?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Curriasis?
Yes.
Hoyu?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Snitsky?
Yes.
Thank you, folks. We're adjourned at 8:38. Have a good evening.